Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world.
From the Keith Winsakala Studios in Paterson, New Jersey, Green Hour Media is proud to present Is This Real? Tonight, we're going to look at the underground bunkers on this continent and around the world. Now your host, JC3.
And welcome everybody to another fantastic episode of Is This Real? As you heard in our intro, we are talking about underground bunkers, underground tunnels, secret underground tunnels and bunkers and whatnot and all that good stuff in America and around the world. Tonight in the booth, we have Big Joe as usual. Say hello to people, Dad.
Hello, people, and welcome to our program.
We have Roadblock. Say hello.
Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody?
And we have Cito back in the booth with us tonight. Hello, Cito.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Cito's back. Mr. West is at his girl's birthday. Happy birthday, Jazz.
Yo, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jazz.
Happy birthday.
So we are back in the booth tonight talking about underground bunkers, underground tunnels, and all of what lies beneath the surface.
They're bunkers that are underground.
Well, there has to be tunnels that lead to the bunkers.
Okay, that's fair enough.
See?
That
Thank
works.
you. We'll start off with our resident go-to man. Dad, spit some truth.
Well, look, they're all over the world, these bunkers. Some are real, some are reported to be real, some are imaginary. But I think we're going to start off with a few of them that are real. You have the Seedwall up in Norway. You have Mount Weather out in Virginia. You have the, what's the other one we were talking about, Josh? The Greenbrier Hotel.
Yes.
Okay, that's another government installation. And those two are in our country. And, of course, Norway is in Norway. But these are for various reasons. Like our military installations are basically they're there for emergency purposes. They're where our government's going to go for the continuity of government. They're going to go to these places, especially in Mount Weather, because it's so close to Virginia. I mean, it's so close to Washington that they can escape with our politicians. So they can continue running, God forbid, if there's a nuclear crisis.
And fuck all of us then.
Well, this is why we elect the people. When you Joey, when you take a job, some people have jobs that have, perks. Well, this is the perk of being
First of all, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I will. If something is going to cause a global pandemic, or like the world is going to end in like 20 years or 10 years, whatever the fuck, and we know it's going to done, and it's over. I don't care what your job title is. Everyone's equal at that point.
You're right, but again, you're not in Congress. You're not a senator. You're not the president, the vice president. These guys are.
I don't care. What do they got to throw me in
In our
jail?
Constitution, we allowed for continuity of government, and that's exactly what has to happen. Now, sure, everybody would like to be, included in this, but when you have billions of people around the world and you have a facility that only can fit, maybe 2,000 people, you're not going to get everybody in there. So we have
survival of the fittest, and we're all dead in this
have to
booth.
have these to protect our government. Now, also on the flip side of that, some underground bunkers are made of old silos, Minuteman silos that we had for years that we decommissioned and we sold off, and people are buying them now to, I guess you call them preppers. They're buying them to make homes out of. Some of them make beautiful homes out of them, and they're stocking them up. And who knows?
I don't want to sound well, preppers.
You always sound that way.
Shut up.
That's twice you didn't want to sound like it, but you still sounded like it. What the fuck? Get to the point.
Preppers annoy me. They really do. And I don't want to, like, go against everyone, but, like, come on. Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
Okay, you know what? Look, I don't want to get this off on a rant about preppers, but you know what? Give them a little bit of credit because you know what? They're actually thinking. You know, I mean, Joey, what's going to happen, God forbid, there's some kind of natural disaster, a nuclear disaster or whatever, and these guys are prepared. They got food for 2 or 3 years. They have a place to go. They're well protected, and you're knocking on the door to get in because you didn't protect yourself to do it. Now, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but I'm not going to knock somebody who actually is looking for the future. I mean, it can get crazy where all they think about is the end of the world and we're all going to die.
Yeah, most of the preppers I hear. Now, listen, if you're talking about somebody,
that's not true.
If you're talking about somebody who's just sitting there like, I have an extra stock of things just in case, I'm fine with that. But you have those people that dig out bunkers and say Jesus is coming in the next 10 days, and then like
Those are totally different. Those are actual
no,
lunatics.
they count as preppers.
No, preppers, at least to me, in my opinion, I think preppers are actually smart people because if they're sitting there being, I guess, financially responsible enough to the point where they can sit there and prep for a future event.
Yeah, because it's not cheap. I mean,
it's not. They sell them off. There's silos that people that can use it, which isn't that smart because it sticks out the ground. But there's also underground ones that are being sold and stuff like that. Like these are the kind of things that, if you're actually ready and prepared for that, it's a smart thing to do because you never know. Like a meteor comes. I mean, come on, we never know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I understand that, but
if it's
at the same time,
they're safe because they.
I get that. No, they're safe for the time being.
Yeah, and that's what
it
about.
gives them
it's trying to be safe and
2-3 months extra time.
Well, I'll give you a little example now. This isn't about preppers, but
it goes hand in hand.
The bunker that's at the Greenbrier Hotel in Virginia. Before we found out anything about it, they were going to house 2,000 people from our government. And I believe that there was enough food down there. I mean, you had medical facilities. You had basically a hospital down there.
They give tours for this bunker.
You have right. Well, they do now because it was outed. It got out that this bunker was there, and they decided to, you know what? All right, everybody knows about it now, so now we're going to let it go, and everybody's going to, we're going to tell everybody what's going on. But this facility, I believe, you could have 2,000 people down there for 6 months, living comfortably. Now,
and what happens after that 6 months?
Well, I don't know. But in 6 months, you got a chance to at least figure out what you might want to do, And then after that, I don't know.
There's also ways to sit there and communicate to see if anything's going on the outside. Well,
right.
If they plan that far ahead.
Right.
If they have that type of communications, there's still people that use old school, CB radios, stuff like that. Like if someone's smart enough to still have that, they can communicate with the outside world.
Right. Well, the Mount Weather facility I know is basically is headquarters to FEMA, and they have a radio transmitter out there with ultra high frequency, and it connects to basically around the world to all FEMA and all military from that, so they can keep in constant communication if there is an emergency where we have to have our government continue, but Washington somehow is destroyed. And there is a tunnel. I do believe there's a tunnel anyway. I'm not going to go on record saying I know for a fact, but I believe there's a tunnel from Washington to be able to escape, to get the president and vice president out of there to Mount Weather. And the earliest Mount Weather, that we can, it was planned on being used was during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
When John F. Kennedy?
Bobby Kennedy was actually going to evacuate to Mount Weather if we had a nuclear war with Russia. So, yeah. But anyway, that's my take on the underground bunkers. They're there for a reason. Some of them.
Good night, everybody.
Some of them we're not supposed to know about, like the one out in Colorado, when I'm talking about the Denver International Airport, and we touched on that on that one episode, and we can touch on it again tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna touch
it. That's not proven. We don't have proof that some of us believe it. So
Well, I mean, we went through that whole list of what it looked like, the bunkers going into the ranches down in Texas and stuff like that. Right. So it's not like someone's pulling this out of their ass and be like, this is,
still allegedly.
This is what I believe.
Right. It's allegedly. You don't know. You don't know. And in the words of the missing Mr. West, they be doing something. They be doing some shit there. Okay, so
fucking with some shit. That's what they
fucking
say.
with some shit. I don't do with the same kind of slang that he does, but whatever. So
close enough.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. There's bunkers with me. I had a very hard time trying to figure out what to talk about this episode, to be honest, because there's a lot of bunk, but there's nothing like, I don't know, weird, creepy, mysterious about them.
Yeah, like, we're not talking about weird and creepy. I don't think this episode is about weird and creepy because they're not weird and creepy. That's the thing.
What is, like, I hate to skip, it's not really skipping to the end, but what are we talking about then? Like, what are we sitting there, like, what are we trying to figure out? What is what real, These are real bunkers.
Right, and every one of them will have stories about it. You got the Norway Seed Vault where people were storing seeds. Would they take donations of seeds into that place? What are they really there for? Is it because they're trying to protect? Is it because they're trying to protect the seeds for future generations, or are they stocking up in case they have to grow their own food in case of a disaster? So that's the question of some of these bunkers, and some of them, you got bunkers that are being built to this day around the country that we don't know anything about. But all the military is telling you is, yes, there's bunkers being built. That's it. You're not getting any more. So why are we building so many bunkers? Who are we going to house in these bunkers? And that goes back to the Walmart story in the Midwest. Why are we changing Walmarts into prison camps? Or why are we putting barbed wire? No, it didn't end. Why are Walmarts closing and all of a sudden you see barbed wire around the thing? What is going on with these things? Why are we doing the fuck you in your speech?
It still feeds to the meat of it. What's going on? Like Dad said,
what?
Like, yeah, sure, we can only pinpoint a couple of these. Some of these are famous, and there is some records of it. But it begs the question, like Dad said, there's more being built, and we don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. So later on, a question can occur if we ask the right question.
Well, I mean, if you sit there and turn around and say, "Okay, we're building bunkers to house people,"
don't know because it's the government. That's the
question.
What
I'm saying, if you sit there and they turn around, the only possible answers is they're going to hide some shit, they're going to hide from some shit, or they're going to store some shit. So, like,
that's three questions right there. What is for each and every single one of those? We don't know.
There's 1,000 possibilities. You could sit there and think about anything. Like, okay, there might be a nuclear this, there might be a nuclear that, but, like, it's really sitting there trying, you're grasping at straws and you don't know.
But you still have to ask the question. Doesn't matter if you're grasping at straws for something like that.
Okay, so
government can lie to you, or government can tell you
does
the
lie
truth.
to you.
No, would you listen, fucker?
But regardless, government
let me
lie.
finish. The government could lie, or the government can tell the truth, and you still don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We still have to ask that question. That's the point, isn't it?
See, at least for me, right? I feel like at this point, it's not about what they're for, but I think it's why. Because we could ask, okay, this bunker's for protecting people. This bunker's for this or that. But why do they have them? Like, you could always say you have a doomsday bunker, but why do we have a doomsday bunker? So, like, at this point in time, there's no recordings of, like, okay, sure, nuclear war can happen anytime. That can happen anytime. Mm-hmm. But besides that, like, usually you can find some kind of source, like, maybe years before, like a meteor striking or something.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's not like there's a big government secretive thing that they're hiding fucking Adolf Hitler's grandchildren in a bunker somewhere. What I'm saying what? What?
Josh, didn't I tell you earlier today?
I don't mind people being skeptical, but when you get retarded,
but what I'm saying, there's only a few possibilities of what it could be for, compared to why it's there.
But why so many?
Yes, that's
exactly.
what I'm saying. You can still ask that question. 1, 2, fuck you can't make fun of me for saying Space Kansas now because that question was out of left field. I don't care what you say.
Space Kansas was funny, though.
Yeah, I know. And then there was Space Utah.
I can understand building the Mount Weather. I get it. It's for FEMA and, for the continuity of government. That's what the Greenbrier was for before it was outed. I can understand all of that. But when you got them in the Midwest, when you have them being built...
Well, don't you have government in the Midwest, too?
Not for continuity of government. Why would you need that? You need somebody to run the government.
Well, I could understand the Midwest, though. Because especially in continuity in Midwest for the government, because usually most targeted places by nuclear war would be on the East Coast and West Coast.
Right.
So usually the Midwest will be the best place to go because it will take a longer time to go towards it.
Yeah, but you also got to take into consideration that if you're going to try to make people escape, like the president or Congress, you got to take time to get there. If we know this, don't you think our enemies know that?
Well,
if they're going to start blowing up the world or blowing up nuclear, they're targeting these places, and they're going to target the infrastructure to get to these places.
Well,
that's why Mount Weather is so important, because it's right there.
Well, we're going to take a short little quick break, and then we're going to continue this discussion when we get back. We'll be right back, guys.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
Hi, this is Anthony from Multimedia Mafia. If you love what we do and you want to know more about us, head on over to greenarrowmedia.org. On there, you're going to find links to both Multimedia Mafia show and our sister show, Is This Real?, which is all about conspiracies and aliens and all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. If you want to support us, head on over to our merch page where you can buy a hat or a mug. We have lots of different designs and cool colors. If you want to meet us, we got pictures up there. We have a little biography, and you can even stream the show right through the website. And hey, don't forget to check out our YouTube link, where you can check out all the filming that we do right on our YouTube page. Check us out, greenarrowmedia.org.
And welcome back to this fantastic episode. So, Joshua, you wanted to go down your list of underground things in the world?
Yes, I do.
All right, go on.
So I looked up a whole bunch of things. There's some websites you guys can always look up yourselves if you want. There's different lists. They rank them in different orders. I have a couple that I looked up, and the list, at least for the first one, as Dad mentioned earlier, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Svalbard, Global Seed Vault in Norway.
Svalbard.
I think I said it right. So for people who don't know, it's a vault that's located in the isolated Arctic of Norway at a distance of only 810 miles from the North Pole. The vault acts like a Noah's Ark of vegetation and is designed to store and protect countless types of seeds, which in my mind is really smart. If we're going to prepare for the future, somehow something happens, at least we got something covered right there. I think that's really smart.
Yay, seeds.
We got... I hate you so much.
Again, that comes under the part of the vaults that we know.
Yes. One that technically we know or don't know would be Denver International Airport, which we did cover in a previous episode. That's in Colorado.
DIA.
Don't really need to put that, but, airport covers 53 square miles, rumored to contain a bunker underneath the buildings that stands above the plane. 5 buildings are said to have been built incorrectly, and then new buildings placed on top of them, like we had discussed in the previous episode. Next one would be, which I find interesting because apparently there's really not that much details into it. This one's going to be in China. It's the Shanghai Complex. Most of the details of the... What?
My peoples.
I'm not touching that one. Most of the details of this facility have been kept hidden, but what is known is that the bunker covers 1 million square feet and is capable of housing up to 200,000 people. The shelter has the ability to withstand blast, nuclear radiation, and poisonous gases.
So 200,000 people in China. What is that, like 0.05 of their population?
Anyway, number 4 would be the Burlington Bunker in the UK.
What did I say wrong?
Everything you just said was wrong. Anyway, this is a 35-acre Cold War city located 100 feet beneath the surface of
it's a whole city?
Horsham. Yeah, that's what it's saying. 35-acre Cold War city located 100 feet beneath the surface of Horsham. I hope I said that right. The site was built by the British government in 1950 and codenamed Burlington. The shelter could accommodate 6,000 people for 3 months and is able to withstand nuclear strikes. Then we have number 5 on this list, which Dad had already previously said, the Greenbrier Bunker in Virginia. The U.S. government built in addition to this hotel in 1958, and in exchange, they were allowed to build a 120,000 square foot bunker underneath it. The bunker actually remained a secret until 1990 when it was revealed and then decommissioned. We got number 6 for Iron Mountain in Massachusetts. This underground fortress was originally built by an Enterprise Information Management Services company. That is a mouthful. Holy crap. Although not originally intended to be a survival bunker, places ranked as one of the most secure places on the planet. The fortress takes up 10,000 square feet in a 1,000-acre limestone mine. We got number 7, which is the Moscow Metro in Russia. The subway system is also a large subterranean system of secret trains and bunkers. It is a hidden city underneath Moscow. Most of the metro was built by Stalin during the Cold War, so we know it's kind of old.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, that too. Anyway, we got number 8, Raven Rock Mountain Complex. It is in Pennsylvania/Maryland. There are 5 3-story buildings in the complex meant to relocate the Pentagon site. The facilities in the complex contain everything you can need, including a dental clinic, that's a new one, snack bar, barbershop, and even a Starbucks.
Woohoo! Starbucks. Sponsored by Starbucks.
I didn't read that before. That just caught me off guard.
That one's actually in the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Blue Ridge Summit of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. It's actually dubbed the Underground Pentagon, that thing. And it features an extensive telecommunications center for the U.S. Air Force, U.S. Army, and U.S. Navy in the event of a nuclear attack. Originally formed during as a Cold War emergency shelter, continues to act as a relocation point for military national command authorities. Its main occupant is the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, which uses multiple communications and computer systems, and was actually hypothesized that District 13 in the Hunger Games was modeled after the Raven Rock Mountain Complex due to its strong similarities and in design and overall function. So it does have a really, really strong purpose for our government. And that's
so you mean to tell me that the government needs Starbucks?
Well,
because that threw me off.
Hey, you know what? Look at the Pentagon. The Pentagon, you can actually it's a mall. You can go shopping in the Pentagon. They got literally stores and barbershops, and because the Pentagon is a city.
Can I get transferred to one of those?
The Pentagon is a city within a city, and you know what better way of keeping your military close and at hand than to give them a city?
That's what I want.
City
I want to be transferred to the store.
You shut up.
In the Pentagon.
No. Anyway, moving on. Number 9.
I would transfer you there, but I don't think Jenny Craig opened up there.
Woo! Right. Number 9, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado.
Jenny Craig.
Located 2,000 feet deep in granite, this facility was originally designed to withstand a 5-megaton nuclear explosion at a distance of 1.7 miles. This place is probably the safest in all of Colorado. And then finally, number 10, as Dad mentioned at one point, Mount Weather in Virginia. This civilian command facility is a bunker and is also used as the command center for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA. Announcements made by the President or FEMA over the emergency alert system are most likely to come from here. The site has fortified buildings above the surface and underground bunkers as well.
Yeah, it's the the emergency center is a major relocation site for the highest level civilian and military officials in our government in case of a national emergency. 564 acres, high security federal government facility along the Loudoun-Clark County border in Virginia. And I do believe there's tunnels that can lead from Washington there. Again, I'm not going to say I know for a fact, but that comes along with the conspiracy thing. Are they real? It would make sense to me because under the White House you have tunnels that lead all over Washington. So who knows what's connecting under there to get to Mount Weather. Like you said, it's run by FEMA, and it's a key role in the U.S. continuity of government plans. So, there's some of the biggest ones.
Yes, these are the ones that are probably more popular, at least obviously because they're on the internet. So anybody can go out there and look these up. They can look a bit more information. There is a good amount of information. I know for me, though, the one for, China, the Shanghai complex, I find very interesting. And amazing that not many details are actually given, but allegedly, the whole, 1 million square feet and capable of housing up to 200,000 people. I think that's really interesting. I don't know if anybody can, legitimately look that up, obviously, because it's in China, but I find that fascinating.
Yeah, all of you Chinese people listening, if you want to, shoot us a text.
There's also one right under the Deep Underground Command Center. It's called DUCC, and it's actually under the Pentagon. And it was commissioned in the early 1960s, situated somewhere 3,000, 4,000 feet beneath the Earth's surface. Near the Pentagon, the facility was designed to resist blasts of 200 to 300 megaton weapons without losing its structural integrity. That's pretty fucking strong.
Yeah.
It was recommended by John F. Kennedy immediately before his assassination. The proposal was for a 50-person bunker with an expansion capability for 300 people. The result of the proposal remains unknown, although it has been surmised that it was halted following the president's death. So that's another that's going to come along with the, conspiracy. Do we believe it? Do we? Don't we? Or whatever. Mount Pony. There's an underground facility at Mount Pony in Culpeper, Virginia. It's funny that they're all in Virginia. A lot of these are in Virginia.
Yeah, like you said, you're going to keep these facilities close, so you have the most important people in the world. And it begs the question:
are they connected in some way? I mean, again, just throwing that out there.
You have Virginia or the mountains.
Right. The building was built in 1969 at the height of the Cold War. My God, for a very different purpose. This is where the Federal Reserve stockpiled billions of dollars in cash for use after the war with the Soviet Union. According to the Brookings Institute, this included large numbers of $2 bills, shrink-wrapped and stacked on pallets 9 feet high.
Well, I would like to go visit there.
Following a nuclear blast, the money was to be used to replenish currency supplies east of the Mississippi, a 30-day food supply, and water would sustain 500 Federal Reserve employees. Now, there's a problem. That's where I have the problem.
What's your problem?
We don't need the Federal Reserve people.
Oh, you don't like the Federal Reserve to begin with. So.
Okay. First of all, the Federal Reserve is not federal.
We're not going to sit there and go through this now in this episode.
Yeah, we are, because you can't. If this is going to be if you're going to build a bunker for continuity of government, this has nothing to do with it. And I don't want to hear about giving out money after it's all over, because who are you going to spend it on? It's not like the 7-Elevens are going to be open. Walmart's, well, maybe they will. I don't know. Are the stores going to be open?
I don't know.
That's why would you have to hand out money? Makes no sense to me. And they're not. Why
they're
should they get
now.
protection of our government? Why should they get protection? They're not. Has nothing to do with continuity of government. But somehow in this place they were going to do it, and I don't think that's right. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Most people leave it, but that's
so. I don't know. As far as the Federal Reserve goes, and the Federal Reserve employees, because they do need a job. In the aftermath of nuclear war.
Well, we're not talking about a job here. We're talking about continuity of government. That means the government to be continued after somebody to fight the war that we just got hit with. In case there's a war or if a meteor strikes, you need somebody to run the country. So I can't see why the Federal Reserve would need their own thing. And that's again, that's just my opinion.
We'll continue this discussion after we go to our second break. We'll be right back, guys.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history, we also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Hey, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. If you need a professional photographer, then we here at Green Arrow Media recommend Captured Moments by Danielle. Professional headshots, school pictures, family, holiday vacations, you name it, she can shoot it. She even does engagement photos as well as boudoir shots for both women and couples. So if you're located in New Jersey or Pennsylvania and you're looking for a professional photographer, remember to contact Captured Moments by Danielle at www.capturedmomentsbydanielle.com.
And welcome back. So, still talking about underground things. And what? Don't look at me. Don't laugh at me like that.
Underground things, really?
I'm sorry. This topic really bores the fuck out of me.
Oh,
but I'm
gee,
here.
Thanks.
But I'm here.
All right, so first off, I just want to point out the fact that throughout this whole episode, we bunkers, they were talked about how they're supposed to survive, like, maybe like 5 to like 10, 50 megatons, right? But nowadays, the one thing that really wants me to question most things is the fact that these bunkers are supposed to be for the government that we know about today, like Cheyenne Mountain and all that. They're said to be marked as like these megaton amounts. But from my research, from a little common knowledge and research, not really common knowledge, but, back in 1961, the nuclear weapon Tsar Bomba was created, which by that time was recorded as the largest amount of megatons in a weapon. If I am correct, the Tsar Bomba is like, what? 50 to 58 megatons.
Yeah, it was. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't. Up to even now, that was the biggest explosion ever. Mm-hmm. And it really was impressive. If anybody ever saw the video of it.
Yeah, I saw it myself. Huge. That's why I wanted to bring it up. But
brilliant.
Point being, that's 50 to 58 megatons in 1961.
Right.
So if nuclear war was going to happen now, what I'm trying to say is that I feel like these bunkers that are supposedly stated now aren't classified anymore because there's new and more updated bunkers like the one that's under the Pentagon, right, where they can survive, what, 300 megatons.
Which basically would take out Washington, half of Virginia.
Maybe a good portion of the East Coast.
Right. It's the old adage, like, how many bombs would it be? How many bombs would you need to take out New York City? People say, well, a nuclear bomb's going to hit New York City. Well, it wouldn't be one. It would have to be a bunch because, they can only build them so big. I don't know what the biggest one now is. I've not done research. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, if our bomb would have hit New York, it would have needed, maybe, I don't know, 3? That's how big that's 50 megatons.
Yeah, I think around 3 or so.
Yeah.
But just talking about nowadays, obviously technology has gotten better. Hydrogen bombs, there's bigger bombs than a nuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. So that's just one thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm wondering myself, especially, I just like doing research on the military for fun. What confuses me a lot is that a lot of these bunkers are meant for communications. For nuclear war, but if nuclear war really were to happen, a lot of these communications would be knocked out, because the United States have prepared. I forgot what the planes are called, but there are 2 planes that will circle around the entire United States. If nuclear war were to break out, and communications knocked out, those 2 planes would connect a communication layer between the entire United States.
Yeah, they're the doomsday planes.
Yeah,
and they are equipped. It's kind of like what the Air Force One and Air Force Two is. They are equipped with everything. They can refuel in the air. They can do a lot of things like that. They have the capability of shooting missiles down, heat-seeking missiles, and whatever. So yeah, they would be able to do that. But the biggest problem we have with these military installations, and like you said, if we ever get hit with a bomb, they're not going to just drop bombs. They're going to drop bombs in the air, and that's going to be the EMF. They're going to take out electromagnetic frequency, it's called, and that'll take out anything that's electric. So that would definitely interrupt some of these communications. So you got a question: if they're being built for communications, how would they get the communications out? If the pulse, the EMF pulse, ever took out all the electronics in the world? And I know that it's the military; they got their own way of doing things, but I don't know. It just seems a little bit.
That's still a most likely scenario because everything's the digital age now, electronic age.
Yeah.
So
EMPs, stuff like
that's the first and foremost thing that we get taken out. So with these bunkers, are they actually prepared for that as well?
Right.
And another thing is, why are we preparing so much for doomsday? Period. Why do we need a category of seeds in Norway, all the way out in the middle of and near Arctic, which, like a positioning strategy, that could make sense. No one really, who would nuke near the Antarctic?
That's the thing. I don't think that you would, even if you could, you would. Why would you? Because if you are on the winning end of a war, you're going to need to rebuild yourself. So naturally, you'd want that to be preserved to somehow get there. But the thing is, how that's not going to serve the common man. It's not going to serve you and I if we're surviving over here from a nuclear blast and we got to eat. Well, we're not going to truck it to Norway to get these things. So again, the people that can do it will be the elite. The people that can do it will be the military. But why do they get to do that, and the rest of us have to die?
That begs another question. Do you think if that situation was to happen where there's some type of doomsday, do you think they would allow access to at least the more well-known ones that aren't really being used that much?
No.
Like the one that you said was in Virginia, the one that was decommissioned. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it, because you got people that run it as I don't know if it's a museum or whatever, but you can tour it now. If I know that, and I'm working there, or I know that I get my family there in case of a nuclear bomb, I'm locking that door on the way in. Yeah. And whatever food and thing is there, it's going to be just for us. However, it would be there's an old I don't know if anybody has ever watched the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever see the episode where the guy builds an underground bunker and him and his family are in it, and the neighbors are pounding on the door, let me in, because something, I forgot what was happening, what disaster was happening outside. And it turned out that he wouldn't let anybody in, but the disaster never happened.
Yeah.
So that's what would happen. It would be every man for himself at that point. You'd have to survive, and you would be doing whatever you could. So you couldn't blame somebody if he took, his wife and his children into one of these things, locked the door, and then could live for a year or 2 years on the food that was down there. Yeah. Or a group of people that would do that. It's every man for himself at that point. But when it gets to be outside of the continuity of government, I get the president. I'm all for it. Give him a place to go. I know we have a bunker. You got Peoc that's under the West Wing. That's the what the fucking fly? That is the emergency command center where the president goes. I know Bush went there during 9/11, and then we have a bunker underneath the White House itself where Dick Cheney went, which was a little deeper, I believe, under the White House. Anyway, my whole question of all these things are, and it bakes back to you, Cito, why there are so many?
Yeah.
What are they? And I said this in a previous episode. I forgot which episode it was. I don't agree. I believe that there is something up somewhere in the future that only a select group of people know. And I understand that you can have secrecy in your military for like Area 51.
Yeah.
You can have that, to develop new planes, because like I said, if we know about it, our enemies know about it. But what I can't handle is if there is something going down, if there's something happening, and you guys are protected, protect us as well. At least give us a 50-50 shot. And I do believe there is something coming down the pike. When, I don't know. But it scares me to see all this stuff that they're doing in preparation for it.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement, especially because I see it as if you're going to continue the government, right, you can't really have a government and a people and a country to really control over if everyone's dead.
Right. Yeah, so you're right. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's great to have the continuity of government. We only have the president, vice president, and a couple cabinet members, but everybody else is dead.
Like what? Like what's the point? Like, and then for me personally, like this whole question is: are these bunkers really stable? Because, like I mentioned, you know, like nukes and other weaponry nowadays are going to be much worse from when they were originally built. But even then, like, you know, continuing off the idea, there was in the past, like World War II. I'm not sure if you guys know about the city of Dresden. You know that literally it was a city in Germany that was completely bombed by napalm, to the point of the fact that people in the bunkers there in Dresden were melted alive.
Again, back in World War II, you didn't have the technology you had. Although the Nazis did have great technology, but not anything like we have now. I don't believe, if anything, I think there's a smoke screen when it comes to this stuff. I don't think nuclear war is what's going to take this planet out. I think it's going to be something from space. My opinion. I believe now we're slowly hearing from the government about the aliens. We're slowly hearing from threats from space. You know what I mean? Pay attention to the rhetoric that's being slowly brought up.
No, I can understand that statement. I think, you know, nuclear war, because, like, you know, nowadays, you know, we can easily be on edge with a matter of a couple statements, but especially space, or, you know, like,
we don't have control. I mean, like you said, we can talk to the Russians and we get pissed off. You know, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah.
But that'll be back because nobody wants to blow up the world. Nobody wants to because you know if you send an attack out, you're going to get hit too.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody wants that. But I do believe that whatever threat is coming, and I don't want to sound like a doomsday person, but I think whatever threat is coming is not coming from our planet, or maybe it is coming from somewhere in our planet that might be destroyed because of natural causes. And, you know, you'd have to put that in there. Now, I'm not saying aliens, but who knows? We don't know what's out there. We're not being told the truth, although they're slowly leaking it little by little.
Yeah, especially nowadays, like, you know, there's a lot of mysteries of this world. You know, we could talk about, you know, government secrecy, but there's a lot of mysteries, period. Like, you know, I'm not going to speculate to anything but oceans, you know. Oceans are just vast, and we haven't explored all of it completely.
What did they say the other day? 95% of the species in the ocean haven't been discovered yet.
I think it's in the mid-90s around there.
Yeah, it's amazing when you realize what they know about the ocean, and then they're saying, well, we don't know 95% of it.
But, like, my point being, there's a lot of, like, mysteries going on. Space, we've only gone so far into space that we don't know. So I can understand where you're coming from. But me, I'm more on the edge of, like, you know, nuclear war can break out of any second.
Oh, it could, yeah. It could. It's always a threat. It's always going to be there. So, but anyway, Joe?
Yeah.
Are you awake?
Kind of.
What do you want to do here? Let's take us out, or you want to keep going?
No, it's fun. You guys, everybody got their points out?
I got my point out.
Joshua, you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm pretty much good. You know, for me, it's just, you know, just question. You know, ask questions. It doesn't hurt. And you can easily think of questions if you keep talking or discussing or even reading. Like I said, some of these are well known. You can question those, or you can just do some extra homework on the side and see what's around, or pay attention to the news, Twitter, all that type of stuff. See what comes out. Listen
to the rhetoric. Listen to the words that are being used, and pay attention. And don't get involved with political shows where you got to hear their opinion, because I don't need anybody else's opinion. I got my own. And once you can do your research on your own and listen to the words, very important. Words matter. Words matter. If words matter, calling each other names or whatever, words matter. And when they're reporting something, and watch where it is. I mean, they'll be talking to you, and then on the bottom of the screen, you have a scroll going by. They could be talking to you about a flower show on the bottom. Aliens are attacking U.S.A. You're not going to pay attention to that. Yeah. Pay attention. All I'm going to tell you, once you pay attention and you learn how to pay attention to this stuff, trust nobody that's giving you your information, you'll be fine. Hopefully.
All right, everybody. So from all of us at Is This Real, good night. Everybody say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Just remember to question everything, and we'll see you next week for a Nazi episode. Good night, guys.
Konnichiwa, bitches. It's Ryu West speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/isthisrealpc, or on Twitter at isthisrealpc, or on Instagram at isthisrealpodcast, all one word.